I'm Ava Livingston. I'm making this documentary for a high school senior project. This is the story of our family's journey to understand Julia and her autism. Autism is a neurological developmental condition that affects people's communication and way of interacting with each other.
Well, within hours of her getting her vaccines at age 1, we noticed a big difference. She was really fussy and irritable. She was arching her back, like in pain, it seemed to be held, and she stopped talking or even making eye contact. And I called the pediatrician's office thinking she was just having some sort of reaction to her vaccines. And then within hours, I actually drove her back over there because I was worried that there was just something not the same, just something not right. Well, when she was younger, I didn't tell her about it because that doesn't define who she is. I wanted her to just develop the way that she would have developed and not have a label attached to her. And also not feel like she had any limitations. I just wanted her to, sort of uncover her own hidden talents and special abilities just like anyone would. She was probably around 8, maybe, 3rd grade-ish. We were at the ophthalmologist sitting in the waiting room for an appointment for her, and I was reading a magazine, and she was looking at a highlights for kids magazine. She was reading over across the waiting room from me, and then she brought the magazine over to me and held it open, and she said, "Mom, this little boy is a lot like me." She says, "I'm a lot like him." And it was an article about a little boy that had autism, and she was finding similarities in the way that they reacted and interacted. And she said, "Have I ever wondered if she had autism?" And I said, "Well, Julia, you do." And she's needed to sort of take it in and think about it for a while, and she just kind of thought, it was, a lot of things were clicking, it made sense, and it was answering a lot of questions and things she'd been wondering. And she took that magazine and went back and sat down with it for a while. And then before we left the doctor's office, I said, "Do you want me to ask if you can take that magazine with us and take it home?" And she said, "No, we should leave it here in case anyone else finds it and realizes the same thing." Well, it started way early, even before I knew for sure what was going on in her life with this. I had read information on the internet, which was brand new then, just kind of opened up ways to research. And I didn't have an autism diagnosis, but I was noticing that she was having delays in lots of different developmental areas. And we were on a really long wait list for a developmental pediatrician to evaluate her. But I got early intervention services in our home, and then I got help placing her in a preschool setting where she could receive services there. And we did occupational therapy and physical therapy, and speech services really early on, like at age 3, maybe even before age 3, a little bit before that. And I took her to a feeding clinic because she had so many texture aversions that I couldn't get her to eat. So she was considered failure to thrive. She wasn't gaining any weight. She was way off the growth curve. And a lot of it had to do with just so many sensitivities to textures that I wasn't sure how to get the calories in her, so we needed help with that. And I used a nutritionist to help me find things that I could add to her diet and supplements. We tried different amino acids. We tried Nordic Naturals fish oils, a gluten and casein-free diet, different types of vitamins, evening primrose oil and flaxseed oil I would use in baked goods for her. I went and had training for applied behavior analysis and sort of like used that to guide our play time at home. And then just lots of social opportunities. Like we joined a play group through birth to 3 so that she could, have some relationships forming with peers, and started using social stories with her to help get through things that were like a real struggle for us, like going somewhere in the car or washing hair or going to the dentist or brushing teeth. So I would have a story talking about all the steps with her as the star of the book, and since this main character, which is her, could get through this, then we could practice reading it and then do the steps, and then pretty soon she was able to do that, even though it was challenging for her. And she went to an integrated preschool, so she had lots of opportunities with other children, which was good.
I was worried about her. She was very sick. She went to the hospital and didn't sleep for a number of days, and she came out of the hospital and went back for a checkup on when she was getting well, and got the MMR vaccination at that point, and totally spun out of control. When she was young, I read a lot of books to try to better understand her. I ended up taking some classes, parenting classes. I went solo out to New Hampshire for a week to an institute that specialized in autism and parents with autism, and a course to better understand my child. So that was really eye-opening. When she was very young, it was very rough. Her elementary schools were very difficult. She had a habit of running out of the classroom. On both ends of the corridor, there was actually stop signs that said "Stop, Julia." So she wouldn't leave the building as a reminder, because she fled the classroom so often. As she grew up, she had a lot of social issues. She's improved greatly. She's now 19 years old. She lives with me, and after graduating high school, and is attending community college. A lot of the stuff that affected her in her primary schooling and high school years are not present anymore. But there's other issues in play. We work really well together. We work together to keep her motivated towards her goal of going to college and getting a degree and starting her life as a young adult.
Julia recently came to visit us after her first semester at college, and we were all really proud of her and excited to see her. Okay, Lucy, do you know who's coming to visit us today? Who is it?
Jilla!
Hi! Hi! I missed you.
Oh, I think I was more surprised to see you. No, I'm kidding. Hi.
I enjoyed elementary school, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was easy for me. I was emotional and not very social, and I remember running away from the classroom a lot, which, I got over that eventually, learned to stay put and managed to make a few friends by the end of like 4th grade, but then we moved and I had to go to like a new middle school, and that was a lot harder. I really hardly spoke to anyone, and I was picked on a bit, so because I was the weird kid in class, and I started seeing a speech language pathologist more often, and they were doing their best, and I respect the work that they do, but I'm still not totally sure how much that helped me personally. But it was one of my accommodations, and I'm glad that they were looking out for me. It didn't take long for my family or I to work out that I was a little ahead of my peers in certain areas. I learned how to read and count a lot earlier than most other kids my age. I was reading chapter books in like 1st grade, and I didn't know that was unusual at the time. I could apparently count to 100 when I was 3, and like not even necessarily in order. I could grasp like basic science, like for instance the food chain, when I was about 5. Like a lot of people on the spectrum, I tend to kind of zero in on one topic in particular that interests me and like become an expert in it really quickly. Research comes naturally to me. I enjoy it. It's fun. Over the years, been interested in a variety of stuff to that degree, like such as well, for a while it was horses when I was about 6, 7, which is, that's a normal little girl thing to be into, but I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that most little girls weren't interested in horses the way I was. I knew a lot of really insane, like, details. Later on, I moved to ancient Egypt, which was just more of the same. I could name all their gods. I knew the difference between the between Upper and Lower Egypt. I didn't memorize facts like a robot. Like I could, I could read about this sort of stuff and, just remember it really well and think about it and apply it to stuff. Like, there was actual learning going on. It was just about something really specific. Around 2010, I I developed an interest in the film industry. First it was like special effects and film history, and then it was like concept design for film, and I'm still interested in all those things a lot. But it's right now I'd say it's animation for film and television, just animation of all types, and I love talking about it, and I love reading about it, and it's it's a passion, and it's a passion, but at the same time I'm kind of worried. The idea that I might just, wake up one day and it would have just turned out to be another phase that eventually that just departed. I find that idea kind of sad and uncomfortable, because I really want to believe that it's my calling or whatever. I really want to believe that I can make a life based on this thing that I'm really passionate about, and hopefully it'll turn out that way. Maybe art school will work out.
Thanks for watching, and I hope this video gave you a better understanding of our journey and my sister and her autism.
Through the dark valley, through forest and field, battle with the souls they yield to dance on the mountain, dance on the mountain. Over those endless rolling hills, they peaked and counted.